Everybody, it's Besta and Steve in Portugal, and we took a day trip from Lisbon to Sintra. What a day we've had.
It's been incredible. We are actually standing inside a Moorish castle, which was a fortification built by the Muslims in like the 1000s.
And we're right near the famous Pina Palace, which we got to visit this morning. And when we climbed up all the way up a bunch of stone stairways to the top of this Castello de Moor, then wonderful view of the Pina Palace, which was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
Absolutely. And there are incredible views of actual Lisbon, which is like 14 miles away. It's such a clear day. It's a little cool, which is why we're dressed like this. We're definitely not in Florida anymore. But it has been a fantastic day and so much history and so much to see. And we're just getting started.
Sweeping across two ridges of the Sintra Mountains and looking over the city of Sintra, Portugal, rests a massive castle that dates back 2,000 years. The Moorish castle, as it's known today, has been under the control of Portugal since its first king, Afonso Henriques, claimed it from the Moors in 1147. But uncovering the history of the beautiful Gothic and medieval landmark is more challenging than simply opening a history book.
Records of the castle's beginning are difficult to find, but historians agree that it was built by the Moors, or Muslims, of North Africa sometime between the 8th and 10th centuries. They saw the defensive opportunities the site provided, and using local granite blocks, somehow managed to interlink the castle directly into the cliffs and boulders that are part of the mountains.
The Islamic occupation of the Iberian Peninsula lasted for 3 centuries, and the castle was ideal for protecting the maritime trade that came into the area from the Atlantic. It also protected what archaeologists called the Muslim quarter, which was a small community that resided within the castle walls. What the original castle looked like exactly is unknown. Archaeologists have discovered storage areas within the castle and the mountains themselves that likely housed grains and served as stables for the Moors. There's even a large cistern, still accessible today, that is believed to have served the Moors' drinking water needs.
One of the most popular pieces of the castle design is what historians now call the Gate of Betrayal. This was an escape route for residents of the castle in case there was an occupation. But of course, since doors swing both ways, it was also a way for a traitor to assist the enemy, thus the name Gate of Betrayal.
After the year 1147, peace settled over Portugal and the defensive need the castle provided faded. Some crusaders occupied it, but most looked to the lower altitudes and settled into the town below. The castle sat empty and unused for nearly 800 years. When the Great Lisbon earthquake of 1755 hit, even more of the castle was lost as it crumbled upon itself. It wasn't until the 1930s that the site became popular again, and that's when King Ferdinand II bought the site and rebuilt it as part of the country's Romantic restoration. During the renovations, burial grounds were disturbed, and because it was impossible to determine if the remains were Moorish or Christian, the king ordered them all into one single tomb, which still stands on one of the paths to the castle today that we were lucky enough to see on our way up to it. Translated from Portuguese, the tomb's inscription reads, "What man brought together, only God may separate."
Walls were repaired, walkways were added, and trees and plants were planted throughout the forest. The king wanted to create an area of recreation and exploration for those who visited the royal family at the nearby Pena Palace, which had a direct line of sight to the castle's remains. In 1910, Portugal designated the Moorish castle as a national monument. Today, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site run by Parcs de Sintra. And of course, they are inviting willing visitors to climb all the way up nearly 1,500 feet to the highest tower of the castle. Having been there, I can tell you it's worth the climb and a spectacular experience. Here's how to get to the Moorish castle. From Lisbon, take the train to Sintra that departs the train station near Rocio Square. If you have a transportation card for buses and metros, simply swipe that to get on the train. It takes about 45 minutes to travel to Sintra, and then you can purchase bus transportation on the loop of palaces. The Moorish castle is the stop just before the Pena Palace. There's a brief hike on a well-maintained path to the entrance of the castle's grounds, with some interesting signage in areas of interest, so take your time. The guide at the castle entrance reminded us to pace ourselves as we climbed the castle walls and go slowly, as at least half of the visitors don't make it all the way to the top. We were able to accomplish the climb, but we're glad we listened to his advice and carried some water with us.